make the distinction between good debt and bad debt. Good debt is debt that when you use it, buys you an asset that pays you money.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Ridge Podcast with Fred and Meg. We're glad you're here. Today we're talking about the use of debt. And I gotta be honest, I know the general idea of why someone might argue about the use of debt, but I'm not as well versed as you.
Okay.
As we talked about in our last episode, Americans are $17.5 trillion in debt. And a lot of the financial advice we follow talks about getting out of debt. However, there are people, thought leaders, if you will, who say maybe use debt.
Yeah, they make the distinction between good debt and bad debt. Good debt is debt that when you use it, buys you an asset that pays you money. And bad debt is when you buy something, could be considered an asset traditionally, but that causes you to continually pay money into it. So some investments are that way. If you buy with the wrong mindset, thinking that you want it to appreciate in value and then you'll gain, you might buy something in a bad deal that causes you to pay money into it every month still, and then it's not good debt anymore.
Give me a concrete example.
Yeah, just imagine if you buy a condo and you negotiate a payment and the expenses for upkeep on that and the principal payment and the interest payments, you know, the fee to the manager if you hire one, and just general maintenance, you end up losing money every month.
Gotcha.
Let's say you pay out $100. It's not a lot, and you're like, but if you go in thinking, okay, I can afford $100, and 3 years from now, it's going to be worth $30,000 more than what I bought it for today. So you go into it thinking that you're going to gain on its appreciation, but it's not an asset because you're losing money every month. It's not good debt.
Okay.
That's what I should say. So in that scenario, it's a bad investment.
We talked about the types of debt in our last episode: credit card debt, student loan debt, personal loans, mortgage, and business debt. We actually didn't talk about business debt.
Business, yeah. I think the idea is if you take out a loan and can generate growth from it for your business, that it's probably worth it in a financial standpoint. And maybe that's how you have to fund things. And I would argue that most of the business world sees that as a good debt. It is the best use of money. If you, however, are bad at business and you take out a loan to fail, then it's bad debt. And so you have to understand how you're going to use that money, how you're going to make that money back in excess of the payments that you'll have to make. So how will there actually be growth? And most businesses have systems in place where they can use debt to grow. They've already nailed a system, a product in a system, and want to scale. So that's good.
Now, we've gone back and forth about this. The benefits of using debt. That's our next topic. I've got leverage, access to resource, and then tax benefits.
Do we count credit card? Okay.
Yes.
Fine. Well, the reason why just another item popped up into my mind, and that's the use of credit cards in the form of debt, where you get points. So if a vendor is selling something at the same price, whether you use credit card or cash, and you get points when you use the credit card, it is kind of a benefit to use credit card as a form of debt in that case.
If you have self-control.
If you have self-control, yeah. If you're buying that thing, you already would have bought it. You know, if you have a food budget and you're buying groceries.
Gas.
Yep.
Leverage.
Okay. Yep.
Access to resources. And then this one we wanted to talk about for sure, sort of the myth of the tax benefits.
Okay. So I'm going to say that the first two are very interlinked, as in the leverage is through the ability to gain resources faster. So they're kind of the same thing in my mind. When you are buying a property, debt is the most common method. As in, you will pay a down payment to the bank and the bank will lend you the rest. So it's leverage through debt. And what you gain is access to the property sooner than if you had to save up 100% of the property value instead of 20% of the property value. Now with, what I'm gonna say is that a myth about a tax benefit is that you'll often get someone advising you to incur a debt because you will get a tax deduction. And I just think if that's the only reason, then you're failing, because you're going to be paying interest. Like the tax deduction amount is on the interest typically that you're paying. And if you were going to pay $100 in taxes, but by taking out the debt, now you only pay $50 in taxes, you're still going to pay interest. And so that you have to make sure that the interest that you're paying is less than the tax benefit that you're getting. And I assume that maybe that's true for some people, but it's not true for all people.
In this instance, it would kind of be like you need to look at how much you're paying in taxes.
Yeah.
Like if you're a bajillionaire versus...
What I often see is, oh, are you a business owner? You can go buy a truck and deduct the value of that truck in year one if you're using it for your business. And you say, okay, but did you need a truck to operate?
Yeah.
So you might be able to save money on those taxes, but if you didn't need the thing in the first place, don't do it.
You end up spending more money.
Right. Yeah.
To deduct it off of your taxes.
Yeah, you can say, great, I paid less taxes, but you will also say, I took less money home.
I spent more money than I meant to.
Yeah.
Yikes. Risks of using debt. Interest.
Yep.
Debt traps. As
Okay.
in...
What's a debt trap?
I think the idea here is that it's very easy for us to get in over our heads with debt.
So having to then go into more debt to pay off the debt that you already have.
Yeah. Negative impact on credit score.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way that the credit score system works is that it encourages some amount of debt because it understands how responsible you are with the debt that you have. Are you paying it off every month? Are you making regular payments for long periods of time? Because the purpose of the debt score, or your credit score, is to identify how credit worthy you are for future debt.
Yeah.
If you're paying in cash for everything, you don't need a credit score.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter. But having some debt then helps you, as long as you're paying it off.
This is a question I used to have. How do you, say, get a mortgage loan if you don't have credit score, like you've never done that? However, when I went to go buy a home, I discovered that my mom had me on our Kohl's card for years, and I actually had a good credit
That's
score.
awesome. So a store shopping card can work, potentially.
Apparently.
Yeah. And I think that's actually true of most credit cards. You could add a card and put your child on that extra card and maybe never even give it to them. But they kind of inherit your credit score to some degree.
Which could be really good.
If yours is good.
And for some of you, don't even think about it.
Yeah, don't hurt your kids like that.
Do not do it. All right. Next one talks about responsible debt management, which I'm gonna do my very best to link our last episode about debt repayment. Although I guess it's different, debt management versus debt repayment. This is talking about like kind of how you maintain it if you are going to use it. So making sure you have that budget, even if you're using a credit card regularly for things like groceries, gas, even travel. You need to make sure that you're not spending more on that credit card than you have coming in.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything more to be said about that.
No.
That's like the principle. Have you ever seen there's a video that I've seen on YouTube. It's from Saturday Night Live, and has Steve Martin in it. think Amy Poehler's in it. I do
Okay.
know her name.
Okay.
I don't know the other guy's name. Maybe I'll come up with it again as well. But the guy is like doing an infomercial with this couple who is Steve and Amy, and he's talking about how he wrote this book, and it's designed to teach people how to buy stuff with money that they have. And it's like 1 page long, and the book really just says, if you don't have the money for something, don't buy it. And the rest of the skit is just beautiful on how, I don't know if you've ever seen infomercials, but they typically, people look like, they act like they've never opened a cupboard door before or sliced something in their life, and everything is really hard. And they do a perfect job of acting that style of person out for debt.
I'd love to know what our audience thinks of the use of debt. Can I mention our audience demographics so far?
I think so.
Is that cool? About 94% male, but I want to say something like 80% is between 25 and 44. So, I could totally see where maybe on the 25 side, getting things going, maybe
Getting a car.
working on getting a car,
Yeah.
getting into their first place, maybe like an apartment, and where like maybe they use debt or not. I could also see where on the other side we've got families, that kind of stuff going. So I'd love to know. If you're using debt,
Share.
comment down below, as well as with your debt management strategies, how to keep a handle on it and how does it work for you and your budget.
Yeah, for me, and I will say, for me, the debt management is simply part of my spreadsheet system of knowing what day I have to pay it. Now, I also get emails now, all the credit cards send emails, and a lot of things are automated, and so having that foresight of a spreadsheet that goes months and months in advance, I'm able to plan ahead.
Oh yeah.
It's easy
Yep.
that way.
Amen. Thanks for being here.
The content in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. Investing in securities involves risk, including the potential loss of your entire investment. Always conduct your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor or legal professional before making any investment decisions. The opinions expressed in this video are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views of Ridge, Angel Funding, or VAS Portal.
Thank you. I didn't do the duck lips though.
It's okay.